Hi team, it's Gina Brooks, and I'm trying something completely different this week. I'm actually using Zoom and I'm using the record feature. So I thought instead of you having to look at this mug the whole entire video, I would actually do a PowerPoint presentation. So look at me being all technical and stuff. So what we're going to talk about today is leadership, and I'm going to do a 4-part series. Today, I'm just doing kind of an introduction, really to just try out this Zoom feature and see if it's effective and that maybe you enjoy it or you don't. But I am going to do a series of different topics in leadership. There's billions and billions of leadership topics. I've kind of narrowed it down to 4 that I think are important. So in talking about leadership, leadership is my absolute favorite topic to train on and discuss. And that's because of its importance to the success of an organization and its people. So I'm going to ask you a very important question. Do you want to know how to determine if the leadership of your organization will equal success? And I'm going to tell you something, it's very simple. All you have to do is look at the energy, the motivation, the joy, the satisfaction, and the quality of work coming from your employees. Are they happy? Are they inspired? Is morale good? This is how you determine if you are a successful leader. Look at your people, okay? The answer is right there in the heart and spirit of your team. So John Quincy Adams once said, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. But what's really interesting about this is that leaders can be the most blind to not only the pulse, right, of their employees, how their employees are doing, what their employees are feeling, what equals job satisfaction. They also are blind to the importance of their actions and their inactions, right? It's not just their actions, it's what they're not doing and how that can affect the organization as a whole. Okay. So are you born to lead? There's always been this big, huge debate on if you're born with the skills and ability to lead. But unfortunately, many people are placed in leadership roles without that innate need to serve, or without even the skills and abilities to succeed. Because obviously promotions, usually you have to become a supervisor to get that promotion. So a lot of people go outside even their interests and outside their comfort zone and outside their gifts to become leaders when perhaps they shouldn't be. Now, there'll always be that debate. Are we born to lead or can we learn to lead? Personally, I believe it's innate. I do. I really believe you have to have the heart and care to lead. But I do believe that the skills and abilities can be developed if you have the heart to lead. Can you lead with heart? Okay. And so we're going to go over 4 areas that I believe are really important and touched on these 4 key areas that I think you could develop to become a successful leader. Okay. And we're not going to go over any of these 4 in depth today. I'm just going to summarize them. And then next week we'll start on self-reflection. So these are what you're going to learn in this 4-part series. You're going to learn about self-reflection, emotional intelligence, servant leadership, and feedback. Okay. So when you're talking about self-reflection and why that's important, it's basically asking yourself, who am I as a leader? Self-reflection helps us to improve our leadership skills by really looking at what our strengths and weaknesses are. The more aware you become, the better choices you can make in regards to your behavior and your decision-making capabilities. And we're going to go into depth into self-reflection, and I'm going to go over why it's important, how to develop these skills, how to become more self-reflective, and we'll even learn some exercises that you can do to help develop that particular skill. Okay. And so the next area that we're going to talk about in this series is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is like a big buzzword, like over the last 10 decades or decades, last 10 years, 1 decade. My math skills are bad. Okay. But anyway, emotional intelligence. is basically looking inward, right? It's similar to self-reflecting in that it helps you develop self-awareness and self-regulation. Both of those are important in developing emotional intelligence because becoming self-aware helps you understand your emotions, your values, what makes you basically you, right? Self-reflecting, you're trying to find out who you are. Becoming emotionally intelligent, you found out who you are. You found out your values. You found out what your belief systems, you're confident about them, and they make up the core of who you are. Another thing that you'll learn in emotional intelligence is self-regulation. Now, whereas becoming self-aware helps you understand your emotions, self-regulations help you control your emotions and help you control impulses and helps you redirect some of those negative responses and helps you become more aware of how to change so you can be more effective in your leadership. So emotional intelligence will help you grow as a leader, and it's equally as important to all the areas we're going to discuss today. Now, if I was to think of one area that's probably, in my opinion, the most important, and in my opinion, as a leader, I strive to tackle is being a servant leader. Servant leadership is the opposite of authoritative leadership, right? Because authoritative leadership is top down, whereas servant leadership is bottom up. So basically, if you're still holding on to the it's my way or the highway, I can guarantee you will fail as a leader. And that has a lot to do with the upcoming generations that are already in the workforce who will be our bosses, Gen X's later on, the millennials, and then the Z generation. These two generations don't lead and do not get inspired by authoritative approach. They are the opposite. And I found that servant leadership is probably the best leadership approach you can use with these new generations, because these new generations are more collaborative. They are way more self-aware than maybe my generation are. They have more creativity. They want teamwork. They want to contribute to decision making. They want to collaborate, right? They want to do stuff that's going to help them contribute to the better good of the community and their organization. So they want open communication. They want to give feedback and they want to get feedback. Completely different animal than many of us are used to. And so servant leadership is a great way to really bond with this new generations of employees that are coming up. So servant leadership is about empowering your employees and giving resources and opportunities that will help them grow and succeed. Having them grow and succeed only makes you look good. And that's what a servant leader does. They facilitate, they assist, they guide, but they don't tell, they don't direct, right? So a servant leader facilitates, not dominates. Very important. Okay, and the last area that we're going to go over is feedback. And I understand that's kind of an odd skill or ability, and maybe it's not really a skill or ability per se, but it's something that you should incorporate in your leadership skills, is having the ability as a leader to ask for feedback, right? This time you're not giving feedback, which we do all the time, right? When we're giving employee evaluations or directives or collaborating in teams. This time, I want to show you the importance of you as a leader asking for feedback. Now, that's a scary thing, right? Because we've done employee attitude surveys, I've done HR surveys, and we ask all these questions, and then I usually cry when I get the responses. That it's really difficult to take feedback. I don't care how strong of a personality you are, asking for feedback, accepting feedback, really looking at a very open approach to accepting the feedback you're getting is a skill that can be developed. And that's what we're going to go over on the last week of our series. I'm going to show you some ways that you can ask for feedback that won't be so intimidating to your employees. It's kind of like asking your employees to evaluate you as this leader is similar to asking your husband if you look fat in the dress you're wearing. They're not going to tell you the truth. Even if you don't look good in that dress, they're going to say you look good in that dress. Well, what do you think your employee is going to say if you ask them how well you're doing as a leader? They'd be scared to say anything other than you're amazing. So I'm going to teach you some ways to ask for feedback from your employees that's not so intimidating, but where you can still get some excellent insight on how you can become a better leader. Another way you can get feedback is to ask from your co-supervisors or your mentor or a friend that you work with. No one will tell you the honest truth like a friend, regardless if you want to hear it or not. So we're going to go over some different ways that you can ask for feedback and how you can accept that feedback in a positive way, in a constructive way, and understand the importance of perception. And maybe you really self-reflecting on what you're putting out in the universe as a leader. So next week, we're going to delve into self-reflection. But in the meanwhile, I want to leave you with this, okay? Whether you've been a leader for years, whether you are a new leader or hope to be one in the future, you have to put the time in to develop your skills and abilities. And you can do that by continuously learning through personal and professional development. We're going to start next week. I will see you then. Thank you. Toodles. Bye.